I usually like to start off my videos with a decent segue from intro to topic, but honestly I have no idea how to segue into today's topic cleverly. Today we're talking about Cave Story merchandise. While Nicalis haven't done much with the IP in the past few years, Nicalis does occasionally do some really neat things for Cave Story, and one of those things is release official merchandise. Actually, despite releasing only a handful of neat Cave Story merchandise, there's actually quite a history of Cave Story merchandise that seems to have never gone past the concept phases. So today's video is going to be more of a history on Cave Story merchandise. First off, we'll be starting off with the surprisingly short list of released Cave Story merchandise. We can easily start off with Cave Story Plus for the Nintendo Switch and Cave Story 3D. Both of these games have physical copies you can buy, and I don't feel like I need to explain super in-depth what these items are. One plays Cave Story on your Switch, the other is one of the worst remakes of all time. Cave Story Plus on Switch of course came with the PVC keychains, and I love these little keychains. I was thankfully blessed with the quote keychain, lost it, and then opened a new quote keychain on my search for pixel signature video. And yes, I will gladly buy more copies of Cave Story if it means that I get a chance at the Balrog and Curly ones they also offered. Next up, we have the really adorable Cave Story drink coasters. Honestly, there's not much to say about these. One day I just love to have friends over, and when it eventually comes time for them to put a drink on my coffee table, I get to bust out the Cave Story Plus official PVC drink coasters and know happily that my coffee table is being protected from the power of condensation with the power of Balrog's face. One thing I forgot to mention in the original take of this video that I'm now adding post-editing is that there is an official Eggfish keychain that they sell in their store. Something interesting about the keychain is that in its packaging when it arrives to you is that it says it's part of a Cave Story Plus keychain collection and that this is Series A. Now, minus the keychains from the Cave Story Plus Switch release, this is the only keychain that they sell in their store that's Cave Story related. It's not super important, but I'd figured I'd point it out in post-editing since someone will if I don't. Our next item actually is going to be the first one with quite a bit of history behind it. The Polar Star and Machine Gun USBs. These items actually used to be gaming convention exclusive items that Nicalis would later sell in their own store. Their USBs now come in 16GB sizes, but they used to have 4GB variants as well. The 4GB variants were actually far more superior as they came with a DRM-free version of Cave Story, a Steam key for Cave Story Plus, the game soundtrack, and quote-unquote other goodies that I was never able to find out. According to the founder of Nicalis, these were not cheap and only limited to 90. So somewhere out there, there's 90 Polar Star USBs with tons of Cave Story goodies that I'd love to get my hands on. But limited Cave Story merch is really hard to find. I guess now that I've mentioned the topic of limited Cave Story merch, I should really mention that this stuff truly is hard as hell to find. Not only is this stuff not mass produced, but this stuff never gets resold once it's out. I'd go as far as saying that Cave Story merch is honestly some of the hardest gaming stuff you could find. And I'll go ahead and explain with this next piece of merchandise that I luckily have. This amazing Cave Story Plus Super Famicom poster. This poster actually looked much different when it was first teased back in 2016 on the official Cave Story Twitter. But the how I got this poster is a little bit more interesting. I got it all the way back in 2019 at Anime Expo, and I found this on complete accident. I didn't even know this poster existed until I got to the counter to buy the Polar Star USB. Behind the counter, they had tons of tubes with the poster, and they said it was an Anime Expo exclusive. So of course, I had to buy it then and there, which kinda sucked because I had only planned on buying the USB and the poster took the last of my convention money. But this is where my point stands. When I posted this poster on the Cave Story subreddit, a lot of people later got back to me saying they didn't even know it was a thing, and checking Nicalis' Twitter around this time, they didn't even mention the poster was on sale or even existed. The only people who ever got to see it and a chance to buy it were attendants at Anime Expo 2019, and this got me thinking about what else they might have done this for. This is actually a good time to mention that all the merchandise that didn't make shelves, or at least to most people's knowledge. While it is safe to say that most of this was never sold, the poster being a form of hidden merch is quite the enigma that basically tells me that this merch might have been sold as some form of convention exclusive the same way the poster was. Either way, let's get into the merchandise that has yet to see the light of day, allegedly. First off is this set of official Cave Story figurines, and honestly I am in love with these. They capture an aesthetic of older anime figurines, which is dope and helps capture the vibe of Cave Story, capturing an older vibe despite being out in 2004. These figurines were teased all the way back in 2013, and what amazes me even more is the fact that there's a whole set of them. Quote, Curly, Misery, Balrog, and what seems like random picks are one of Jenka's pups and King. King definitely looks a bit off compared to the rest of them, but still, this is something I would love to own. One thing interesting about this set of figurines is that the Balrog one here was actually seen fairly recently again in 2018, however it was shown off showing a different emotion. The only way to tell that this is the same figurine is the shape of Balrog's edges. They're both similar in both images, so who knows, maybe Nicalis is just trying to get them right, but I doubt it. Speaking of figurines, it seems Nicalis, at one point, tried to hop on the pop figurines craze. In an even more recent 2019 tweet, we got to see chibi, pop-like models of Toriko, Sue, King, and even Balrog. All of these were shown one after another once a day. And while the pop style of figurines aren't my cup of tea, I would definitely make an exception if they were Cave Story ones. That Balrog one honestly looks like it'd make a really cute paperweight. And we're not quite done with figurines just yet. I don't think that these were meant to be sold in mass-produced form, but these are still worth noting. Back in 2012, Nicalis tweeted out this image of blank quote figurines that appeared to be 3D printed. The fact that they're 3D printed is why it seems they were never meant for mass production. Similar figurines of Jenka and her puppies can also be seen in a tweet of 2017, but these are fully colored. Moving on, we have a bunch of multicolored quote fidget spinners, and honestly, we have what appears to be our first con exclusive item outside of the poster. These seem like they were mass produced and they're all individually wrapped. I honestly want a ton of these, and at least one of each color. I usually don't fidget with things, but damn it, I will if it means Cave Story is involved. Or who knows, maybe I'll never use them at all to be able to say I have mint condition Cave Story fidget spinners. Our final piece of merch that we'll be looking at is what appears to be another con exclusive item, that being a quote cookie. The only evidence that these are mass produced for con exclusivity is that they're individually wrapped. And damn it, I really want a quote cookie. Now, just because we've gone through all the standard merch, I do want to talk about items that I'll be calling specialty merch. This stuff shortly appeared after being announced, but wasn't offered for long. Either that or they were given away in some form of miscellaneous special reasons. The most recent item we've seen this happen with is a Balrog box. This was revealed back in May 2019 and was recently given away to anybody who purchased $50 or more of merchandise during Nicalis' holiday sale that they held for their store in 2020. Even though I don't strongly agree with this being the best form of Cave Story merch, yes, I of course regret not getting the Balrog box. There really is nothing special about it too. It's just a box with Balrog's face on it. And yeah, I still strangely want it. The next specialty item we have was given out during a special giveaway held by Nicalis. A special Balrog charm can be seen as a part of a bundle of Nicalis Switch games as well as a Nintendo Switch. It makes me wonder if these were ever planned to mass produce these small, simple charms for their store, but who knows, maybe they're given out for gaming conventions as well. And finally, we have what is the rarest Cave Story item you could possibly own. In fact, don't even tell me that you just so happen to have this because only one of these exists. A special edition Wiimote that had art on it drawn by Pixel himself that was given out during a contest held by Nintendo Life. And my god, I've never wanted a Wiimote so bad. There is art from head to toe on this thing, and I really love how the four main villains are drawn on the back. Also, apologies for the low-res image, but this is from 2010, and this is the only image I could find of this thing on Nintendo Life's website. Some people might be quick to tell me that there are more of these Wiimotes due to a tweet from Nicalis back in 2020, but those Wiimotes were clearly different, as the art on them is way different. These doodles from Pixel honestly have so much charm in them, and I would die to be able just to look at one of these Wiimotes in like real life. From my understanding, the two you can see in this image are from 2008 and are being held at Nicalis offices, unless somehow they lost them, in which this means someone must be fired. And with that, we have covered what I believe to be every official piece of Cave Story merchandise and items. Honestly, I thought this video would be really neat to make and definitely informative, but I honestly just ended up being really frustrated when typing this script due to how much merchandise I missed because I was too busy being a dumb kid at the time half of this stuff was on sale. Seriously, those Wiimotes were made when I was 9 years old. I had no chance of getting one. Either way, I apologize if you're as frustrated as me seeing all this cool stuff, and hopefully someone at Nicalis is watching and they do decide to double down on merchandise after seeing this. Which, by the way, I will mention there of course is tons of cool stuff you can find online from fans on websites like Etsy, but this video is only covering official merchandise. There are some really cool things fans are willing to make and sell themselves, and there's nothing better than supporting communities you love, so definitely do your own digging for stuff like that if you'd like. And finally, if someone at Nicalis is watching this by some odd chance, could you please talk to whoever you must to get me some official Balrog soap? I would never use it. Never in my entire life. I would keep it in my fridge forever so it wouldn't melt, but please let me buy like $100 worth of Balrog soap. Thank you. Until my next video, Nerdio is out.